What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Mike on the Mic, Boston Sports Talk with your host, Mike Molyneux. Everything Boston Sports right here on my web show. I got a lot of things to talk about, so I just jump right into it with first off saying, let the Will Middlebrooks era in Boston officially begin. Um, Kevin Youkilis, it was time to go, man. Uh, I got give you a lot of props for everything you've done for the Red Sox organization, for all your seasons with the team. You know, you were there for the 2004 championship season, 2007 season. You know, a lot of props go out to you, but it's clear to see that since the 2009 season, he was in decline. You know, he stopped performing like he was, and that usually happens with a player as they get older and deeper into their career. And that was the case with Kevin Youkilis. And you know, I've been saying get rid of Youkilis since last season. I think a lot of people were. But the Red Sox, you know, didn't have a lot of options to choose from, whether it be possibly pursuing a trade or free agency. You know, the Red Sox didn't have a lot of options, so they just stuck with their guy and looked for the best moving into this season that we're currently in. And I mean, in spring training, you heard a little bit about a Will Middlebrooks guy who, you know, coming up through the Red Sox farm system. But, you know, even with that being said, you knew the Red Sox were going to stick with Kevin Youkilis moving into the season, and they did. And so far this season, Kevin Youkilis hasn't been performing. He wasn't performing for the Red Sox as well as they had hoped. And, you know, he goes down to injury, and they bring up Will Middlebrooks, and since he's been up with the Red Sox, he's been performing unbelievably. He's been batting, 318, 9 home runs, 35 RBIs. You know, coming from a guy who's just been brought up. You know, we expect a young guy like that to work his way into the lineup and work his way into getting comfortable to playing at the major league level. But I mean, Middlebrooks has stepped up and has done a great job for the Red Sox so far. And once Kevin Youkilis came back from his injury, you knew it was going to be a tough situation trying to play these two guys at third base. You know, they had Uke play first a couple times, DH, but you knew it just wasn't going to work out anymore with Kevin Youkilis. And the time was slowly but surely coming to see that Youkilis was going to be traded eventually from the Red Sox, and he finally was. You know, moved to the White Sox for a utility infielder and a pitcher. You know, you knew you weren't going to get anything back spectacular for Youkilis, being that, you know, he's an older player and he's not performing as well as he used to. So you just got to take what you can get. I'm down with Will Middlebrooks. You know, I feel like he's a young guy. You know, he's playing well this season, and I think he could do great things to the Red Sox at third base for many more seasons to come. You know, he can only get better. And thanks for your service, Youkilis, and I hope you have a great career with the White Sox or wherever else you end up. But it's time for Will Middlebrooks to take over. With that being said, I think the Red Sox have a lot of good prospects on their team. You know, they got Daniel Nava, who's been playing well since he's been up with the Red Sox. Ryan Kalish also been brought up. You know, he's been playing decent as well. It's going to be a tough situation when, you know, guys like Carl Crawford and Jacoby Ellsbury come back from injury, because the Red Sox have a lot of outfielders to work with. You would think that it would probably look like Crawford in left, Jacoby in center, and probably Cody Ross in right, but who knows? You know, like I said, Daniel Nava's been playing great, so he clearly needs some time out there, possibly. Ryan Kalish as well, but someone might have to get designated for assignment. You know, someone might have to get sent back down to AAA. Who knows what's going to happen? So it's going to be interesting to see what the Red Sox do once they get all their guys back from injury, and let's see what they do moving forward in this season. Now, moving on to the Celtics. There's a lot of talk with the Celtics and free agency and the draft and everything going around with them. You got Kevin Garnett. You know, will he retire or will he come back and play for the Celtics for another season? Who knows what's going to happen there. Then you got Ray Allen and the mutual interest being shown between him and the Miami Heat which I know I personally definitely don't want to hear. I know most of you probably don't want to hear that as well, but it's what the rumor. It's the rumor that's flying out there at the moment. But I mean, here's what I think the Celtics should do. I talked about it a little bit before on my last episode, but I'm clearly stated once again for everybody to understand. Now, I'm not a GM. I'm not Danny Ainge. I can't make the moves for the Celtics. This is just my opinion and what I think the Celtics should do for this upcoming season. First off, they need to get Kevin Garnett back. He's clearly the backbone of this team defensively. You need to have that guy back. He clearly has something left in the tank that he's shown, especially last postseason. Definitely need to get him back. Get Ray back. This is a guy who everyone talks about. At his age, he's in the best shape of his life. Best conditioned athlete in the NBA and all that talk. You need to get him back. He wasn't healthy last postseason, so he wasn't playing up to his best ability. But I mean, it's Ray Allen, the best shooter probably in the league, possibly of all time. You got to get him back. Keep the big four together. You got to roll with these guys, I feel like, for another season, because they showed a lot the second half of last season and the postseason. And I don't think the big four era needs to end at all. But here's what you need to do. Knowing that these guys are getting older, and like I said before, as you get older in your career, you start to decline. And here's what they need to do. They have Avery Bradley, who showed a lot of improvement. Coming out of the end of last season and the early part of the postseason where he played. They got to roll with Avery Bradley. He's already on the team, so Avery Bradley will be there. Need to sign back Jeff Green. A lot of people were expecting big things from him last season, but he didn't play at all thanks to his heart condition. But I feel like he's a guy that can definitely be a big part for the Celtics. Chris Wilcox as well. Get him back. I think he's a big guy that can work well in Doc Rivers and the Celtics system, and he showed a lot of promise until he went down with his heart condition as well. Brandon Bass is another guy who needs to be back with the Celtics. Had the best season of his career so far last year with the Celtics, and I feel like he likes it here. The feelings mutual with the Celtics organization, so he definitely needs to be back. Now, guys who can be out of here, who I don't mind seeing gone. Thanks for your time, Doolin, but it's time to go. Thanks for your time, Petrus, but it's time to go. You need guys who can come off the bench and give the Celtics solid minutes, and step into the game when Garnett or Pierce or Ray need a rest. These guys are older, like I said, so they're not gonna be up to playing 38, 37 minutes a game. You need guys who can definitely come off the bench and give the Celtics quality minutes and step up in big game moments and play good basketball. You can't have guys who are just gonna sit on the bench and not do nothing. If you're gonna roll with this big four team again, the only one who's gonna play a lot of minutes and be on the court for most of the game is Rondo. You can expect that from him. But with the big three, they can't do what they have done in the past as they get older and deeper into their careers and start to play more minutes and put more mileage on their bodies. You gotta have guys who could step up and make things happen off the bench. That's what I feel the Celtics could do. They can take the complete opposite route and rebuild. Who knows what's gonna happen? Who knows what Danny Ainge is thinking? But we'll see. That being said, the draft coming up. One name that you hear a lot about is a guy that the Celtics, supposedly made a promise to if he's still left in the draft at the Celtics, 21st or 22nd pick, is this guy named Royce White, power forward. I can't think of the school that he played for right now, but 6'8" power forward. I think last season with his school, he led his school in all the statistical categories, points, rebounds, assists, blocks, steals, and that's pretty amazing if you ask me. He sounds like he's a very versatile player. Um, he could be a playmaker, and he also can, pass the ball at his size. That's not something you hear about a guy at his size being able to be a great passer. But I guess he showed that he's able to do it. I seen a couple, videos of him playing at school, and he seems like a great, solid player who the Celtics can hopefully build up and work with for the next couple of seasons. Because KG, Pierce, Ray, they're gonna retire, whether it be after next season or the season after, who knows. But the Celtics definitely need to start building for the future. And I mean, a guy like Royce White, who I've seen, has some promise to him. And we'll see who else the Celtics has in mind with the draft. If they make any trades with the draft, it's going to be an interesting draft night and an interesting offseason with the NBA and especially the Celtics. So I mean, we'll see. Thanks for watching another episode of Mike and Mike Boston Sports Talk.